Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Thursday Night Thunder. And we are here at the Texas Motor Speedway. And I'm joined tonight by Danny G. How are you going?
I'm very well, thank you. Should be a great race.
That's good. Yeah, so Carl with you here, joining you tonight. Edward Foster's just had to take a night off, and unfortunately some technical issues have just led us to scramble together at the last moment because some issues behind the scenes. But we are currently going through qualifying at the moment, which might not be showing on your screens currently, but we will sort of keep you advised as what's happening. Ryan Jones has actually just gone fastest, but before we jump into all of that, we will just quickly go through the championship standings, the top 10 at the moment. So we have Jason Martin leading the standings at the moment with 183 points. Behind him is Matt Danson with 161. Third place is Michael Skurlock with 155. Fourth is Ryan Jones with 140. Jackson Callow sits in fifth with 122. Matthew Raymond with 119 in sixth place. In seventh place is Stephen Williams with 117. In eighth place is Gavin Sadler with 114 points. Joint ninth place is Mirko Dortanack and Raymond Yeager with 112. And then sitting sort of in the 10th place is Josh Micklemore with 107. So we should be looking for a pretty exciting race tonight. It's going to be an interesting one. The times are actually very close together as well, although currently Ryan Jones has Jason Martin's actually just beaten that, and actually beaten that by some margin with a 29.068 against the 29.168. A very good time there for Jason Martin.
Yeah, it was. Looked like Jonesy was looking pretty solid up there until Jason beat that by a tenth. Then I think Jones will be someone to watch tonight because if he finishes good, I think he gets fast tracked up to the Cup Series with that license, sort of fast tracking, and he's just fresh off a win in the Truck Series on Monday night, so he'll be someone to keep an eye on.
Yeah, definitely somebody to keep an eye on tonight, and he's usually been pretty good in races, keeping in position and avoiding wrecks, which is one of the harder things to do sometimes, especially in this sport. Now, I'd just like to give a big thank you to Matt Hunter, who should have been racing tonight, but unfortunately due to some technical issues won't be. But thank you so much to Matt Hunter for joining us up here in the box, at least for doing the broadcast side. Okay, so qualifying's underway, and I'm currently just watching Robert Manson, and he's just sort of doing some very good laps at the moment. Sorry, I've just got my timing screens slightly there. So yeah, Robert Manson's just got up to third place. A fantastic lap for him, with Jackson Callow sitting in fourth currently. So we've got some of the Illusion Motorsport cars coming out onto the track as well. So see how those boys go.
I think it's too late. Yeah,
yes, left it a bit too late there. So yeah, Jason Martin has got us on pole. So I'll let you run down the order, Danny G. I'll let you run down the top 10.
Cheers. All right, so in first place qualifying first, Jason Martin, then Ryan Jones in second, Robert Mason in third, Jackson Callow in fourth, fifth place Stephen Williams, followed by Josh Micklemore in sixth, Matty Cluett in seventh, Jacob Knight in the 024 in eighth, Joshua Carrawalden qualifying in ninth, Kai Sloggett 10th.
And then we have Bradley Ratus in 11th, Chris Purnell qualifying in 12th place, Matt Danson down in 13th, quite a low spot for Matt Danson there, Gavin Sadler in 14th, with Bradley Cheney in 15th. 16th we have Norman Clark with Mirko Dortanack following up in 17th. Nicholas Walsh is in 18th with Raymond Yeager in 19th. And in 20th we have Ryan Bull.
Ryan Richmond qualified in 21st, followed by Phil Otto, Kevin Bomford, Matt Morris, George Fullerton in 25th, then Dominic Ferraris 26th, Tristan Koch 27th, Michael Latta 28th, and the following did not post laps, but we've got Jake Mullaney in 29th, followed by Michael Skurlock, Joseph Trevora, Matthew Raymond, Andre Eidstrup, Ben Doherty, Rick Cornwell, Matt Hunter, who won't be racing, and Dwayne Priest.
So yeah, so very good little lineup there, and yeah, it's big thank you again to Matt Hunter, who should be starting on the grid, but is unfortunately not tonight. But we will be getting started very soon.
We will. We've got a bit of an overcast day. I think the sun's just poking out now, but it's mostly cloudy, so these cars are going to have a little bit more grip. But I have been told during that practice session that they get very tight off turn 2 and 4, so we can probably expect some smashes up into the wall.
Yes, I have noticed during practice actually that they were struggling through those turns. Everybody was really struggling for grip and scrambling across the track, trying to find an area where the car was going to stick to tonight.
Yeah, so I think the line's pretty much similar to the trucks and the Cup. Trucks on the Cup in this Xfinity car. I think we'll see them probably try and take the lower line. I know when it gets into the longer runs, if they get to the longer runs over like 40 laps, the high side can work. I expect to see them sort of at the bottom.
Yes, so we should be in for a very good race tonight, hopefully, with everything going well. Sorry, just some minor issues my end there. Sorry about that. So yeah, Jason Martin, a familiar starter there, and he is going to be looking to make a good starting place. Jason Martin's always good off the starts and restarts, of course, and I'm sure you're familiar with that as you have followed him and raced him quite a few times.
Yes, I have, and I think he's looking for his 4th straight win tonight too, so that's something to keep in mind too. He's obviously wanting to go for that. I'm not sure what the ANZCAR record is, but I think straight wins be close.
Yeah, 4 straight wins in a row. He is just dominating at the moment, and it's something we do see from Jason, and it seems he's really worked together to get his weaknesses out this year. But the pace car goes in and the lights go green and off we go, and Jason Martin does indeed pull away great at the start there. What a wonderful start there for Jason Martin.
Oh, there's a yellow flag already.
We do, yes. Just trying to glance down and see what we have on that one. I'm flicking down the field because we have got a bumper field tonight.
I can't see anything.
No, I can't really see anything.
Oh yeah, I've got it. The 16 got loose. Or he got loose, or he spun.
Yes. There we go. So the number 16, unfortunately, getting loose on that start there. And it's something that can happen on the starts here, is because when you're starting these cars, it's not always an easy thing. The car the rear wheels really like to light up, obviously, and it's very easy to flick the car around and just make a bit of a fool of yourself. It's one of those things that, you know, you look at from the outside as you watch these races, and you think, God, that was a really daft move. But when you're in the car, sometimes adrenaline takes over, and it is so easy just to lose the rear end of that car as you're going into the first corner, because your tyres are quite sort of cold. Everything's not up to pressure yet, and it's one of those things that can easily happen. We have got a few people actually darting into the pits already, just trying to top up their tanks most likely, and just swap to a brand new set of tyres. Not that there would have been much use from those tyres, but always wise to get some cleaner rubber than some older ones.
Yeah, that 16 car was Matt Morris. So yeah, I think he was on the dog leg actually. So he might have just put his foot down on the pedals and slid up the rear tyres. I'm just trying to get to the start, but he's got a fair amount of damage on the front there. So much taken him tonight.
Yeah, we'll have to get ready for the adrenaline pumping start for another time. Just a restart again. It's almost like starting the race all over again, really, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. That only lasted a couple of seconds, so these guys just have to do a few more pace laps and get back into it. Yeah, that was a great start by Jason.
Yes, and he's going to be so annoyed about that yellow coming out after that start, because it was just fantastic. But from a driver's perspective, obviously, you know, you get ready for that start, the adrenaline starts pumping, and it's just such a feeling of annoyance when a yellow comes out straight after you've just started the race. It can be a very frustrating thing, and you just have to keep your head with it as well. And that's another thing that you have to remember is, you know, the race is not won or lost. Well, the race can be lost in the first corner and on the first lap, but it can't be won.
Yeah, it's a very true statement. And yeah, so if these guys can pretty much, I mean, the start of the races I find usually, even in this category, they sort of, you can get a few laps out of them before someone wrecks, and then I think everyone sort of learns what they've got, and they just try and push harder from there on. So you just see them all yellows. A bit disappointing to catch the yellow here at the start, but I reckon we'll get hopefully a decent next run.
Yeah, it would be nice if we see some nice long green flag running here. Texas is traditionally a track that it's not. You do get a few cautions here, obviously, but it's not one of the harder tracks to run on. It's tricky to master, but it's not as... there are some tracks out there that are incredibly hard to run on, and you still end up getting quite a few cautions through that. Luckily, Texas is one of those tracks where you tend to get a little bit more green flag racing than you do yellows. I will touch wood just as I say that, so we don't have a wreck fest tonight.
Yeah, let's see how we go. I think Truck Series might have been a bit of a wreck fest here a bit earlier. But usually how it plays out, like a couple of cautions come out and wipe out some of the drivers. It seems to get better when there's about only 20, 25 sort of cars left.
Yes, and that's it. There are just so many cars on these circuits. It's one of the other things when you're driving in this, you just it's a bit jaw dropping sometimes, because you just have so many cars in the race, and you just as you can see here, they're sort of just trundling around under caution at the moment, and sort of the cars at the back of the field are almost in front of the cars who are at the sort of front of the field. You can sort of see those back markers quite close up. But as the pace car does finally sort of catch up to everybody and things start to get a little bit more normalised, we will sort of see them just disappearing a little bit. Obviously, Texas is I can't remember the actual length of this one. It's 1.5 mile track, I think, off the top of my head. So it's not one of the short tracks, but these 1.5 mile ovals, you do start to see traffic a little bit earlier than some of the other tracks, and especially when people get a little bit loose and things like that. But the safety car lights are out, and we'll get ready for a restart.
Jason Martin leads the field, just coming up turn 4 now. The pace car has gone in, so we'll see him jump very soon. I think he's left a little bit later than last time, but he's off and he's got another great jump.
The traditional Jason Martin restart of just getting a perfect launch away and leaving everybody in his dust. Yeah, Ryan Jones really got caught out, and actually I think Robert Manson as well got a little bit caught up in that as well, and it's just pushed the field back a little bit. It's the tricky thing. I honestly think it's harder to start in second than it is in first place on the... Well, it obviously is on the short tracks, because when the leader becomes the pace car effectively, and they know when they're going to launch, you have to just basically guess when that's going to happen, and it's a real hard thing to do.
It is, just as we'll see Jackson Carlo just make a move under Robert Mason here. We'll see if he can get it done coming off turn 2. But yeah, it is. I always find, like, when I'm racing second place, I'd rather be third or fourth. I don't know what it is, but it's just hard to sort of gauge when you're side by side by someone. You really can't see them. You're sort of listening for them, and you usually just miss out a little bit.
Yes, and that's it. You really have to sort of... It's very hard, because obviously when you're racing in these cars, you're not racing in third-person view or anything like that, because this is sim racing. You're in the cockpit, and you only have the view of the cockpit. So it's very hard to glance to the side. And these cars in general have got very sort of high-sided seats. It's very hard to see out the side of them anyway. So in a restart situation, you're basically just listening for that driver to drop the throttle, and that's your best guess. And usually you don't get it until you see the driver pop out in front of you. But Jason Martin there catching the number 16 that was involved in that spin earlier. He's going to be going a lap down already.
Yeah, well, we can just see if they all sort of get around him. They almost go 3 wide. I think Ryan Jones is working the bottom of the 36 car.
Ooh, a bit of contact there. There was definitely a little bit of contact there between, I think it was Ryan Jones and maybe the number 16. I'm not sure if the 16 came down a little bit, but there was 16. Definitely a little bit of contact there.
He's all over the place. He's been in the wall 3 or 4 times through 3-4 front stretch. Everyone's got through though.
Yes, now everybody's got through, he can hopefully try and get his line back and just start getting back to sort of race pace. And it can be very hard, especially if this is one of your first races in the ANZCAR League in Thunder. And a good move there by the number 31, Josh Micklemore there, just going down underneath Ryan Jones, but he seems to have lost a little bit of traction, and he's just got swallowed up by Jacob Knight. Very good move there by Jacob Knight. He just came flying almost from nowhere.
Yeah, and he wants to look to take 4th place. Meanwhile, yeah, Josh Mickelmore lost a lot of momentum, and Chris Purnell and company, Carroll and Matty Cluett all called up to the back of him.
Yes, and these guys are going to start getting that sort of momentum, just going to start trying to push their way forward, starting to work as a sort of bit of a team, players trying to push each other forwards a little bit and try and get the cars up so the leader Jason Martin doesn't run too far away from everybody.
He's getting there. He's 8/10 second up on Jackson Callow at the moment, and Mickelmore's just is now losing a position. Chris Purnell seems to be getting a great run on Jacob Knight, heading into he might get 2 of them.
Yeah, really good move out by Chris Purnell. Just got underneath there and just sort of managing to sort of keep everybody behind him as well. So good fight going on there. And then Ryan Jones just ahead is just positioning his car perfectly. Just make sure that that extra bit of speed that Chris Purnell was carrying didn't come to bite Ryan Jones there.
He's just gone underneath him now, Purnell, heading into turn 3. I think he'll get this job done, hopefully coming up turn 4. Just a bit of a slide job, which he does. Yeah,
very nice.
Tries to go underneath. You get it done, but now you got Jacob Knight all over the back of Mickelmore with the triangle. He's going to try and make a dive into turn 1. Yeah, so I'm not too sure what happened to Mickelmore. It seemed to be moving up through the field. I don't know if he's lit his tyres up and just got them a bit too hot. Now he's just under pressure or what, or if he's hit the wall, but his car looks pretty clean.
Yeah, it does seem like he just lost a big chunk of pace for no reason. There was nothing I could see from him then. He just seemed to launch his way up the field and then all of a sudden just have a moment where the car just stopped carrying that pace. So maybe he just rubbed panels with somebody or just had to just dab the brakes a little bit and it's just lost him that momentum.
Yeah, he's a good long sort of run kind of guy. So I know Texas does wear your tyres down, so he might just be playing a little bit cautiously. Seems to be losing enough. And Matty Cluett chases him out to about a 1 second lead.
Yeah, Jason Martin's definitely pulling ahead of everyone else, and of course, you know, Jason Martin and Josh Mickelmore, they're the teammates as well with Mitch Motorsport, and Jason will be getting some good details on the track, and I'm sure Josh Mickelmore will be just keeping the car just nice and sort of smooth, just not worrying too much, not fighting too much, just keeping the tyres nice and clean, so maybe he can last a little bit longer out on track than others. You know, that's one of the things that he does do often, is just go for that slightly longer run than everybody else. But we've got Jackson Callow up into second now, so Jackson Callow's had a really good little start there, and just climbing his way up the field.
Yeah, he has. I think he started in 3rd position. He sort of overtook Robert Mason there. Got up into 2nd early in the race. It looks like Mason's just starting to catch him, but just as he catches him, Chris Purnell starts to catch them. Chris Purnell sort of just run away from that 2nd group a little bit, which is still fighting. That's between Jacob Knight and Matty Cluett. Actually going under Ryan Jones here.
Yes,
6-7 car
yes.
sort of.
Oh, sorry, I did just look like maybe Ryan Jones just might have had a little bit of contact there, or just might have swerved to avoid contact, because he did just wiggle a little bit and go on the high line, and he's just losing positions hand over fist at the moment. He's really dropping back. He's dropped back to he's dropped back now down to Joshua Carroll Walden. So quite a few positions there for Ryan Jones there. It's just he did lose quite a bit of pace as he was going round there, so it seems like it's...
He actually, yeah, I can say I was looking at his, looking at the right front of his car. It was damaged, and he just hit the wall there too.
Yeah, so it just looks like that glance with the wall, and that's really going to start costing him, because that aerodynamic damage can start causing some issues, and just down the track there just seemed to be somebody just really flying down on the low line.
Oh, and Purnell up into the wall hard. That's going to maybe bring out a caution flag. He's taken out Cluett with him, but at the moment it stays green because it's happened in the grass.
Oh, so it's just gone off into the grass area, which, of course, it looks like Cluett's got back on the track. He's running again.
I think Purnell was just pinching Jacob Knight maybe a little too much, or when Jacob came up just at the very exit of turn 4, and they both hit, and it's just sent off straight up to the outside wall, who come back down the track across Matty Clewitt.
Oh, that's devastating for Purnell there. That's really going to cost him dearly. But looks like it's for some of the other drivers, it wasn't too painful. I mean, it's never good to have the damage, of course, but it didn't bring out a caution, which is one good thing. The drivers that were involved in that incident will be ruining it though, because they would have really liked a caution just then, of course.
Yeah, and over chat, Jacob Knight's come out and said sorry, so obviously he thinks he was to blame there, and yeah, it's pretty good sportsmanship. But that put a massive gap now between Knight, who's actually in 4th position, up to Robert Mason now, who's catching the back of Callow. Jason Martin's run out to 1.7 seconds.
Yeah, and Kai Sloggett is just catching Jacob Knight as well, but there's sort of a big pack behind them, of course, with Josh Micklemore, Ryan Jones, Joshua Carroll, Matt Danson, Steve Williams, and I think Gavin Sadler, Stephen Williams, yeah, the last car on that little sort of mini pack that we've got going on back there for positions 10 onwards. So there's definitely been some breaking up of the pack, but just in front, Jason Martin has just got some blistering pace at the moment. He is just setting best lap after sort of best lap, and just really doing a great job out there in the lead.
Yeah, he's getting at about a 10th a lap. Taking back a look back at the 31 car who was dropping back through the field early. He's back up to 7th now, and driven past a few people. Looks like he's all over the back of Jones, so he might have been tyre saving, but just in front of them is still the Jacob Knight and Kai Sloggett. They're still going at it.
Yeah, so some good battles going on here, which is what we like to see. And Jacob Knight's doing his best to keep Kai Sloggett sort of down behind him, but Kai Sloggett's got the inside line, and he's going to slip through there and get in front of Jacob Knight. And looks like Ryan Jones is going to try his best to get to sort of do the same, but brilliant move there by Jacob Knight, just cutting down on the inside there. He's actually just got himself back on the inside line, and he's going to try and get back in front of Kai Sloggett. And it looks like Kai Sloggett might be actually the loser in this fight, because and a bit of touching there between Sloggett and Jones. Just a little bump there, nothing too major, but just, you know, at these speeds, those little bumps can add up, and good job by both drivers to keep the cars straight. So they've both kept them going.
Ryan Jones just up into the wall there off turn 4. He's about to get swarmed like drivers.
And we have a
caution flag, is it?
So we'll just try and quickly see.
We've got Brian Richmond in the 47 spinning across the front stretch. Yeah, he's up into the wall off turn 4, and then unfortunately Gavin Sadler ran into the back.
Oh, real shame there, and real shame for Gavin Sadler as well.
That incident's brought out the yellow flag, unfortunately, but that was a good 20. Oh, we had a caution start. That was about a good 20-lap run there.
Yeah, so I imagine we're going to see everybody looking to dart into the pit lane now. So everybody's going to be thinking about that pit stop now, because tyres are going to be sort of to the point where they're going to start accumulating some wear. You know, the drivers were about a second slower than they were at the start, of course, and at the stage of the race, you know, you might as well pop on some fuel, things like that. There's no point staying out there at this point. The only thing you're going to do by staying out there is just really cost yourself at the restart. So everybody should be coming into the pit line, but we'll see how well Jason Martin does, of course. So hopefully he'll get a good pit stop. He seems to have really done well this year of basically getting his pit lane sort of problems fixed. So hopefully we'll see him having a nice clean pit stop again tonight.
I don't know if he'd agree with you on that, but yeah, he's had a couple of shockers lately. I think even on Monday night, I think he had the truck race sewed up and sort of made a mistake on pit lane, but he gets there in there pretty good by the looks of it. I think he's going to get out.
It looks like it was a nice clean stop. So yeah, he's still working on that, and it's still, as we coined last year, his Achilles pit stop. And Jason Martin does lead out the pack really well. Jackson Callow there just behind him. Robert Mason, Jacob Knight is fighting currently. So it looks like Kai Sloggett's actually got a pretty good position there. We'll just wait for everything to sort itself out, of course.
Yeah, I know one gainer in that looked like Matt Danson might have picked up at least 2 positions. He was behind Josh Mickelmore, I thought, ahead of, and Josh Mickelmore was behind the 2-4. Now Danson ahead of both.
Yeah, so it does look like that Kai Sloggett's definitely made up a couple of positions. And Robert Mason's sort of done well. He's sort of stayed in that sort of 3rd position. So some good spots there gained by a few people. A few people made some good pit stops. It does look like so I'm just going through the order right now. We'll just wait for it to update as everybody crosses the line. But Matt Danson made up some good stops, some good positions there in that pit stop. So yeah, Matt Danson sitting there in 6th place now, and Josh Mickelmore just sort of maybe losing a spot in the pit stops, but he's still up there in that sort of 7th place. So all the drivers are starting to climb their way to the top. You know, the rookies of the series are starting to just fall back a little bit, and the guys that regulars are starting to climb their way back to the top of the standings, which is usually to be expected. But we hopefully will see a few rookies getting their way up there tonight, because this is what we are here for. It's our development series.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, there's still a couple of sort of unfamiliar names there at the top 10, but there's still also some good drivers down there in the top 20 too. So yeah, expect them to come front. Yeah, it looks like Matt Danson, he's back up. Yeah, like I said, up to 6. So he's actually coming to the front. There's some good drivers sitting there, like Michael Skurlock. He's mired back 14th, but you sort of expect to see him get back up there. I think Ryan Jones, I think he went in 5th and come out 5th or around there, so I don't think he's really fixed any of that damage. But at the same time, it really didn't look like it was having too much of an effect either.
No, I think just back there, sort of just getting ready. Sorry. Yeah, it's usually the way, and it just shows the class of this field. It's a very tricky thing to do, to actually be fast and stay up there in this field, because there are so many experienced drivers out there. Not to say it's impossible, but it is a tricky thing to do sometimes.
It is, but I think this year's shown just the amount of like different winners of that, especially in the Cup Series. I mean, I know this series has been dominated by Jason Martin, but in the trucks at least, and the Cups, it's been pretty open. I think we've had different winners every week, every race in the Cup Series. Trucks been all over the place.
Yes, well, that's it. We've had some real surprises this year in the Cup Series, and it's what we want to see, and it's a good thing. And it just shows that sort of things are kind of working when you've got new drivers that can be fast straight out the gate. You know, they might not have the experience, but if you're fast, you're fast. That's the thing. So the pace car lights have come off, so they will be going green on this lap round. So we'll see Jason Martin leading them away, and will he get the dummy right again? Yes, it looks like he has, yes. But Jackson Callow did a good restart there. He didn't let Jason Martin pull too far away, so a good start there from Jackson Callow.
Yeah, the top 4, Danson's now past Sloggett, so the top 4 sort of breakaway single file. Sloggett's going to try and creep in line in front of Jones and gets that done. So I think the top 7 are now single file, the rest still racing side by side.
Yeah, racing really hard with each other, which is good, and what we want to see, nice close racing, which is always the best kind of racing. And as they come round, just very close there, and we've got a caution. We've got another caution back there.
I think I got Ben Doherty something. I don't think it was his fault, but run into something, and to me, like Ryan Bull, I think Cluett and Bull got together in turn 3 and 4.
Yes, I'm just going back to have a little look at that. I'll see what happened there, because I think Brian Richmond was also involved in that incident too. But we'll soon find out, I hope. Oh yes, it looks like we've had a few cars. There was a big moment there, and do forgive me, my my client is playing up a bit, but yeah, somebody went straight round. Brian Richmond sort of went straight into the front of them, so quite a big smash there. Hopefully we got that on replay. But yeah, quite a big incident there. It was a real big sort of tank slapper. Somebody just got sideways and just could not keep hold of it. And you know, it's a hard thing to do sometimes on these tracks. You know, it's very easy to lose the car and go sideways. And once you do, it's going to cause big problems. So Jackson Callow there just doing the big dummy, selling the dummy to go into the pit lane, and nobody's bought it. Usually that's Jason Martin's trick.
Yeah, it is.
Somebody else learning from him, obviously. So hopefully we won't be too long on this caution, and then we'll get back to green flag racing. But yeah, when you've got a field like this, and it is a big field tonight, we've got 36 cars running out there, possibly 34 now. You know, it is one of those things that can happen, is, you know, just incidents, unfortunately. And when you're running this close as well, it's split-second decisions, and it's so hard to make those calls when you're in the car as well, because you've just got everything going in your mind. You've got to think about your car, your grip, and then you've got to think about everyone around you as well. And if you're surrounded by 4 or 5 people, it just becomes an almost impossible task.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I don't know if anyone's got keeps replays or anything, but the truck race at Charlotte just a couple of weeks ago, if you have a look at my onboard, one of the big wrecks on the front stretch, I mean, and like you say, with split-second decisions, before the trucks had even wrecked, it's like you have your intuition sort of thing. I knew they were going to wreck, so I had to place my truck on the track where I thought I had the best chance of avoiding the wreck, which I thought was the middle at the time. But it's like, it's weird, you just know it's going to happen. I knew they were going to wreck a couple of seconds before they did, and then of course one car bounces off the wall, wrecks it, and I'm sort of in the middle. I just saw them all go low, so I went high. But if you look at that, it was something like Days of Thunder. I think 3 or 4 cars were spinning back up the track somehow. I don't know how they got there. And I'm just willing, like you say, it's all just, don't know what to do. You're just pretty much out of control too. And when you're on the brakes trying to slow down, you're just all over the place.
I'm trying to think who it was, and I wish I could remember, but I think in the Cup race earlier this year we had a car that just went through all this wreckage and just made it through unharmed, and there was about 4 or 5 cars just spinning off walls, flying through the air, and this one car just split right through. And you know, that's the thing, is it's one of those things of, it's more luck sometimes. You know, we all love to put it down to skill and stuff like that, but sometimes it is just purely luck. An incident myself in the truck race earlier this year, somebody sort of spun in front of me and actually went in the air and then landed on top of my truck, which was a bit unfortunate. So you know, these things happen, unfortunately, in motorsport.
Yeah, they do, and then you can get really lucky where you sort of lag through the cars that are wrecking. You just get the 4X, but you don't actually cop any damage out of it.
Yes, it's almost like a divine intervention, that one. Which, you know, look, we never say no to. When you're racing, you'll take any help you can.
Yeah, that is true.
So we've got one of the Illusion cars just creeping out the pit lane right now. Just looking down, trying to spot who that is. I think it's probably Chris Purnell.
Yeah, so we got 1 to go here. The pace car's lights are off. Matt Dance's moved all the way up to 4th now. And I think he's going to be pretty impatient, actually, I think, to get around the 36 and the 46 of Callow and Mason. I think he just saw pretty much Martin go out to that 2-second lead, and he doesn't want that to happen again.
No, that's it. He really wants to make sure Martin cannot get a lead like that, because the problem is if he gets that lead and we do remain green for the rest of the race, it's going to be nearly impossible to catch him.
Yeah, that was a 20-lap run. I'm not sure what we'll get here. People will be a little bit more cocky. What is it, lap 36? So we're almost at halfway here, so intensity's going to start.
Yeah, everybody's going to start thinking a little bit more towards the end of the race now and try to be a bit more careful, hopefully. So Jason Martin just backs them up, becomes the pace car himself, drops the foot to the floor, away he goes. Great restart, as always, by Martin. But Jackson Callow has managed to keep him humble. But Matt Danson's just trying to get through the outside now and trying to get through and past the other 2 cars in front of them. He's already side by side with Robert Mason.
Yeah, they are. They go side by side down the back stretch. We'll see if Mason can get a good leap into turn 3, but I think Danson's going to be pushing pretty hard. But yeah, sort of Calais sort of blocked him off there a little bit. He's going to drop back.
Yes, and that's always the thing, is if you get that block off sort of happening, you do just drop back quite quickly, and it's one of those things in this kind of oval racing. If you do get anything to slow you down, you do lose a lot of spots very quickly. These cars are running, you know, around about 190 miles per hour at some points on this track, and when you drop off, you know, 5 miles per hour of that, you just drop away so quickly. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, you do, and you got everyone coming behind you trying to get that spot off you.
Absolutely, and Martin is absolutely trying his best to get his lead back now. He's just really putting his foot to the floor, and Matt Danson is looking like he's just lost quite a bit of speed there, just dropping back a little bit more at the moment. He's falling into the grasp of Ryan Jones by the looks of things, so we'll sort of keep an eye on the times and see how they go as well. With the sort of short intervention there between sort of the pit stops and then a second caution as well, obviously the sort of everybody sort of kept out on track that time rather than going in, because there's not much to gain in that position. But if we get a caution in the next say about 5 or 10 laps, we'll see everybody darting in there again, I'm sure.
Yeah, just watching Matt Danson, he's just given up a spot to Ryan Jones now, so he's fallen back to 5th. Wondering if he's really trying to tyre save, or if he 40 laps ago maybe he's trying to fuel gamble it. I'm not too sure at the moment, but he's just got back a little bit.
Yeah, well, we have seen this from Matt Danson before, just trying to just eke out a bit more life on the car. You know, if he's expecting this to go for a nice long green period, then he's going to basically just keep the car as calm as possible and trying to eke it out as long as he can, because in motorsport we do speak a lot about the undercut, but there is also the overcut effect as well, and depending on the track you're on, it can make a difference. The other thing, of course, is you could be trying to go to the end on fuel, and if you can sort of avoid getting fuel and things like that, it can just save you a couple of tenths of a second here and there. So we'll see what Matt Danson's up to in a bit. We'll see how his gamble plays off.
Yeah, and he's pretty much up there in 4th, and he wasn't really gaining too much time on 3rd, so and then 3rd wasn't really second wasn't really gaining too much on 1st either, so he probably knows at that stage maybe he's running a little bit too hard and he sort of backs off. But at the moment he sort of crept back up to the rear end here of Ryan Jones.
Yeah, he could have. One of those things as easily can happen is you can just spin your tyres a little bit and just get a little bit too much heat in them, so you just got to let them cool down for a couple of laps, and that's another thing in motorsport, that it's a strange thing to sort of explain if you're not used to the terms and the way it works. Is with the tyres, they need to be at a certain temperature to operate correctly, basically for their rubber to stick to the road, and if you get them too hot, they basically become almost like it's almost like they just don't work anymore. They just lose a lot of grip in them, and they've just got to let them cool down a little bit just to get to that right operating temperature. It's almost like driving on sort of cold tyres. You know, if they're too cold, they're not going to work. If they're too hot, they're not going to work. There's that sort of Goldilocks area that you need. You need them to be just right, and then they're fine.
Yeah, so if you have like a little bit of a moment and sort of get a little bit loose and light the rears up, so you sort of know that by the time you reach, if you do that off turn 4, you know by the time you reach turn 1 and 2 that you probably can't go as hard as you have been, just because they are heated up, so you sort of lose your sort of rhythm and momentum. And Texas is a very, very big momentum track. Front stretch is so long with the dog legs. It's having a look at Matt Danson looking underneath Ryan Jones, but he can't get it done.
Yes, well, that's it. And Texas is one of those tracks as well. It is a very fast track too. You know, there's really not much lifting to do on Texas. It is pretty much all the way around, just sort of pushing as much as you can, and the little areas where you do just need to lift slightly and just let the car just get in the right speed and things like that can be quite tricky as well. But we do see Matt Danson there just going for a nice lunge down on Ryan Jones. So Matt Danson's trying to work his way up the field now, so he may have just let the car just settle down a little bit after a little moment, and he's just pushing it back to push up the field again.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see too much of a challenge from Jones. I know he wants to keep that position so he can get up into the Cup Series, but I expect to see him sort of race a little bit, see what he does with Matty. I know it's Kai Sloggett, I think. So yeah, now we got Matt Denton all over the back of Robert Mason. Seems to be favouring a bit of the high line possibly here. I know he's gone back down to the bottom. It's Jackson Callow that's gone up higher.
Yeah, Callow has definitely been looking at the high line all race. He likes that sort of mid to high line by the looks of things, and he seems to be using it quite a lot to his advantage, but he just got quite high in the corner there. He's right up the top of the track and he is losing a lot of momentum, and just how where he was just in sort of the area where you're going to start to get marbles and things like that and all kinds of rubbish stuck to your tyres, and Jackson Callow is going to suffer here. He's going to start falling back a little bit.
Yeah, if he can just get hung up on the outside here with Robert Mason, which he has, that allows Ryan Jones to sort of creep into the picture. And yeah, if he can't, he does get back in line there though, but I think he might overrun turn one. No, Ryan Jones goes to the inside of both of them. He might come out ahead here. Yeah,
Ryan Jones has just made a brilliant move there. Both Mason and Callow just going for that real high line there, and just it's obviously not too bad out there at the moment, but they are losing speed and it is not the optimal line for sure. They're definitely losing a lot of speed, and very close there. Just possibly a little bit of contact between Jones and Callow there, just very light door rubbing, which is always allowed in this kind of series, but good not to cause an accident there.
It was. So we got Matt Danson's up into second area. He's 1.2 seconds behind Jason Martin. So let's see if he was saving and see if he can see what happens in the next couple of laps if he actually gains on that. But yeah, meanwhile behind them, it's a fight between Callow, Ryan Jones, Robert Mason. Michael Skurlock's now showing his face up in there. I think he's running in the top 5 now, top 6 at least.
Yes, well, it does look like Danson was saving a bit because he is faster. He's about a tenth faster than Jason Martin across the whole lap. So he is that little bit faster, and he is gaining that little bit through the laps. But at the moment, we've got a great battle on going for sort of 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Yeah, we do. I don't know how they haven't wrecked there. Jackson Callow was up on the outside. He sort of had to come down from hitting the wall. These guys are bunched up. That's just 5. Now 024. And Josh Minkamore's coming into this battle. They're side by side going through turn 2.
Yeah, Skurlock there just caught the grass. He just did a fantastic save of keeping that car on track because he just caught the grass coming through the dogleg there and managed to keep the car on track and not come off. That was a bit of a scary position for him to be in, but he did make it work at least, and he did manage to keep that car working. But everybody's fighting tooth and nail down there at the moment, and Ryan Jones is sort of making it work. He's managed to get out in the front of all of them.
Yeah, he has. I think Skurlock's right up the back of him now. He might get a good run coming off turn 2 and sort of go up high if he can to try and block Callow, but I think he's got the third line, definitely going through turns 3. But these guys are stacking up big time.
They are, and both Callow and Mason there just giving the wall the slightest of touches. It didn't look like they really grazed it, but they definitely left a little bit of paint there.
Yeah, they have. They've sort of sorted themselves out a little bit now, but you've got Robert Mason going high. Jacob Knight's trying to put his nose down there. Now Skurlock's under Ryan Jones.
Yeah, Skurlock is really trying hard now, and he's going to really try and push Ryan Jones to his limits. And Jones there just getting caught in the high line, and he is caught very high right now. He's going to lose a little bit of momentum here. And that's let Skurlock through. And Callow has just hit the wall. Callow has just given the wall a very big tap, and he's losing speed very quickly now. He's just dropped right down the field.
He is. You got Nickelmore, Robert Mason, Jacob Knight's got around him. It looks like Stephen Williams in the 98. No, yeah, Steve Williams in the 98. Yeah. He's just about to get around him.
Yeah, Joshua Carroll-Walden now is just going to get underneath him. Callow has just lost a big load of speed there, a lot of momentum lost in that touch of the wall. But also with damage as well, that's not going to help his chances for the light.
It's not. Just taking a look back up the sort of the lead there. Matt Danson's over a tenth. Look at that lap. He's down to 7 tenths now on Jason Martin.
Yeah, Danson is definitely catching. He's setting blues on my screen, so he's sort of setting those personal bests and laps that are faster than the leader, and is really starting to climb up there. And Jason Martin is just holding on still, but it's we're talking tenths of a second here, guys, between those two. But it does mean that Matt Danson is going to start catching them. And it did look like the Kai Sloggett and the rest of the people back there from 4th onwards did have a bit of a moment, because Skurlock has just made a huge gap on them. Skurlock's made about almost a second on the rest of the field back there. A really solid pace from Skurlock as well, so he's in the hunt now as well.
Yes, I'm not sure what happened off turn 4 there. I think Sloggett actually got to the wall, which held up Ryan Jones, but now Robert Mason's gone under Ryan Jones to take away that 5th position. More over the back of all over them.
Yes, it's real good racing back here, though.
Yeah, Danson's definitely catching. He's only 5 tenths away now, so he's going to be also getting a little bit of the advantage of the drive down the front stretch. Yeah, he's going to be, if he's been catching them the way he is, it's only going to be a handful of laps before he's there. See if it's, oh no, he's actually lost 2 tenths on that lap.
Yes, is this Jason Martin just saying, yes, I've had this pace in me all along, but don't worry, I'm still okay? Jason Martin, of course, might have just been keeping the car a little bit slower and just sort of pacing it a little bit, just so he could get a little bit more pace in a longer run, basically. So not pushing his car as hard as others have been. The other things to take into consideration as well is people like Matt Danson and Michael Skurlock have been in this pack and running in this pack, which means they've been losing in a bit of aerodynamic performance overall and just sliding around a little bit on the track, and that just wears away the rubber of the tyres and does lose you a little bit of speed overall, whereas Jason Martin has had that clean track in front of him, so he's got... Oh, and there's a big crash back with Joshua Carroll-Walden. Joshua Carroll-Walden and Jacob Knight, actually, and oh, that was a very big one.
Yeah, so I think what happened there was Jacob Knight was coming up the track trying to make the corner. I think like Carroll Walden got to just the back of him and sent him up into the wall, and that pushed him back down, unfortunately, into Carroll Walden.
Yeah, real big shame there. 4-2, they were having a good race, and I'm trying to see just who this was. There was a car that just got very lucky. I've got a feeling it might have been... I'll try and have a look on the replay, see who it was. But yeah, quite a few cars just managed to avoid that wreck by the skin of their teeth. They really got lucky. I think got a feeling it was Nicholas Walsh. He just threaded the eye of the needle there between the two wrecking cars. So a really good job from him. But we are going to see the leaders jump into the pit lane, I imagine, on this caution.
Yeah, we are. Danson got into his pits good. Looks like Jason Martin got into his pits good. Just before that wreck, I actually noticed there's a massive punch on the back of the 31 car of Josh Mickelmore. So when those cars sort of split up and we weren't sure what happened there, I think something must have happened. Someone run up the back of Mickelmore or checked up, or something happened there anyway. But Jason Martin has got off pit road in first place, followed by Matt Danson. Michael Skurlock up into third.
Yeah, Skurlock has been having a good race so far. He was sort of easing away from the others in that middle pack there. Not a huge amount of changes that I can see on my screen at the moment. Not some big changes at least. Obviously, a few further back, just as where the accident happened. But Jacob Knight from Jacob Knight onwards, there's sort of been some big changes. But we'll wait for the field to even itself out.
Yeah, it's going to be about 15-16 laps to go when they drop the green flag. So if it goes green, it's going to be I reckon it's going to be a great race between Jason Martin and Matt Danson. I mean, these two pretty much can't. I don't know if they can save tyres now with this many laps to go. They pretty much just got to go full ball, I think, and winner takes all. Yeah,
there's not really much point in saving from this point on. You just got to basically, well, there is that point of saving. If you can just save the tyres, and if there is another caution, you could just have that little bit of extra grip on the restart. there is that sort of mentality to keep in mind, but I don't think either of these drivers will be thinking that they're going to want to go for this race and try and race to the win. So it should be a really good race at the front here. And we now have Michael Skurlock as well in that mix, and he's a driver that isn't slow, so he could well be fighting for this win too.
Yeah, he could be. It was pretty much right there for that first 10 laps. I think he's just got to stick with them and see what happens. If those two get racing up front, you know, he might be able to save a little bit more tyre up there. But another dude that's had a good run all night is Robert Mason. He's sitting up there in 5th position at the moment. Oh, looks pretty clean. Yeah, he's been up there top 3 all night, so see what he can do too.
Yeah, Robert Mason seems to have had a very quick car as well, and he's done well. And Ryan Jones too. They've basically been sitting in their in that sort of P4, P5 sort of area most of the night, which is a good place for them to be. They've made up a few positions from their start. The biggest gainers from the race obviously are people like Michael Skurlock. He made 27 positions. He's right from the back there. Raymond Yeager as well has made up a good 10 slots, and Matt Danson as well with 11 slots. So some really good racing sort of from the midfield to the back there. Another mentioned, no guy to shout out as well is Joseph Tavora as well, down in 15th. He's made up 16 positions, so a good climb from him, and good sort of middle of the range, sort of middle of the field sort of area as well, which is not a bad place to be.
It's not if you can just stay out of trouble. I'm not sure how these guys are going to race here. There's not too many laps to go. It's going to be pretty hectic throughout the field, I'd say. As this car leads them into turn 3, should go racing very soon.
Yeah, and this is always the dangerous part, is because people start to lose their head a little bit in this sort of last moment. They just try a bit too hard and can sometimes overcook it.
Yeah, they can. Here we go. We'll have a look, see if Jason goes early, tries to get a big jump. He does. He's gone. Danson doesn't do too bad. He gets back on the inside.
Yeah, Danson did a good job there, just sticking down to the inside just to block off Skurlock, because Skurlock had made a relatively good start as well.
Yeah, it was Ryan Jones didn't get a good start. He's fallen back. Micklemore's actually a couple of positions. All over the back of Skurlock. Matt Danson all over the back of the 21. He actually dives in for the lead here, Matt Danson. Can he get it done in turn 3? I don't think he's going to get the run off turn 4.
He's trying his best. He's very close. He was very close to Martin there, but he's really going to give it a try now. But Jason Martin is just as usual commanding the race from the front. But Matt Danson is definitely going to give him some serious pressure.
Yeah, he will. He's not letting up too much here. They've sort of gapped Michael Skurlock there by about 4 or 5 car lengths. At the moment, Jason Martin controls pretty well.
So we have Jason Martin from Matt Danson with Michael Skurlock, and then Josh Micklemore, Robert Mason, Ryan Jones, Kai Sloggett, Stephen Williams, Matthew Cluett, and then Mirko Dortmund makes out the top 10. So good run as well there from Mirko Dortmund as well. He's climbed his way up the field and got into that top 10 spot. Just quiet all night, and he's a driver that you just have to watch out for sometimes, because he can sneak away and just take a win from nowhere, as we saw in the Cup race a few weeks back.
Yeah, he did an excellent job there. I was just taking a look at Jason Martin. I think he's just gapping a little bit here on Matt Danson, as Matt Danson tries hard to get up to him. Michael Skurlock actually up to the back of Matt Danson now. Yeah,
Matt Danson is losing a bit of time to Martin at the moment. He's about a third of a second down at the moment. He is losing time, but Jason Martin is just gaining time. He's just got that ability just to make time where others you just look at him and he makes you sick sometimes, because he's just that quick sometimes, and you just go, how is he that much quicker than me? What is he doing? And he has that ability to just get that little bit of extra speed in the car, just carries it through the corners really smoothly, and just carries the speed of the car, and sort of doesn't make sort of any sort of extra movements that aren't needed. He's very good at keeping the car stable and straight and getting it to go as quick as possible.
Yeah, they are. They're very smooth on their wheels. You know, the rest of us are sort of soaring here and there, especially as the sort of tyre wear goes on. I mean, this racetrack, as long as Jason Martin sort of protects that low line, it's going to be hard for Danson to get around him. I think it needs to be a longer run for Matt Danson when the tyre wear sort of starts to show up. But when the tyres are green, like it is pretty hard to try and drive around the outside of somebody.
Yes, it's a tricky thing to do, and it's just that thing. And Matt Danson's not slow either. This is just the quality of this field, though. Is these guys are some of the best oval racing drivers in the ANZCAR league. You know, they are just amazing at it. But we have some guys keeping relatively good pace to them. You know, we've got people like Ryan Jones and Robert Mason in 5th and 6th, who aren't dropping back terribly badly to these guys. You know, start people to look for in the future. They've been fighting really well this evening and really taking the race to the sort of front runners like Matt Danson or Michael Skerlock. You know, they've been doing a really good job tonight.
They haven't been, and actually it's Michael Skerlock's actually caught up to the back of both of these guys, and we're only going to have, I think, 8 laps to go after this lap. They cross the line now. Pretty much, yeah, less than 10 laps to go. I don't think Skerlock's going to give up at all. He's just going to drive his heart out and see what he can do, but he's up there with them.
Yes, so the old term "drive it like you stole it" is coming into mind. Michael Skerlock is just driving it like nothing else at the moment. He is really trying to bring every second he can out of it, and every millisecond he can out of it as well. And he is catching on the leaders. And a guy that's also just making a little bit of a move is Josh Micklemore.
He's back there in 4th place. I think Ryan Jones is just underneath him at the moment, going into turn 1. He probably gets that job done. Still got a lot of damage to the back end of that car, but he's right on the back of Jones here. Can't make the move.
Yes, he's doing a great job with that damage to the car, and it's going to be causing quite a few issues to the vehicle. It's never fun to drive a damaged car around, even if it is just sort of a little bit of damage. It can make a big difference to how the car feels. But he's doing a great job to try and get up into that 4th place. But Ryan Jones is doing a really great job of making sure he doesn't. He's just placing his car really well on the track. He's just sort of keeping it just mid to low line, and just blocking off that low line for Micklemore. Micklemore's going to have to try and go around the high line to get past him by the looks of it.
Yeah, he might get a good run off turn 4 and do the inside. It looks like he has got a good run. He actually is underneath the 11 and turn 1.
Yeah, very good run there, and it looks like he might get this move to stick as well this time. But Ryan Jones is trying his best on the outside there, but as this race goes on, of course, marbles start building up and the outside line does become a little bit hairier. And you start getting those little bits of rubber that nobody wants to get stuck on their tyres, and it just can cause a little bit of a slowdown effect as you go through. And Josh Micklemore has made that move, and Robert Manson is just dropping a little bit back. Sorry, Ryan Jones is just dropping a little bit back. A guy that's on the move at the moment, though, is Mirko Dornak. He's really driving well. He's up into 7th place now. You may remember me just going through the top 10 before, and he's made up two spots, and he is just flying up underneath Robert Mason right now. So he's really pushing hard, and sorry, just just running past I think Gavin Saville there in number 5. Sorry, Dominic Ferreras there, just glancing the wall as he's just getting passed by the front runners. Always a scary thing.
I'm not sure if that slowed Skerlock down. I know Skerlock was right at the back of Matt Danson, but he has dropped off a bit. There was some sort of communication on the radio, but I didn't catch it.
Yeah, it looks like that the battle for the lead has cooled off a bit, because Jason Martin has just got a really good gap now. He's got about just under half a second gap now over Matt Danson, and then Skerlock behind him has dropped to about a second down. Yeah, but Ryan Jones is really fighting hard with Josh Micklemore at the moment. Ryan Jones is putting on a fantastic battle.
Yeah, he is, and so are the two guys behind him, Robert Mason and Mirko in the 62. They've been going at each other. These guys swap positions pretty much every lap. Someone got into the wall off turn 4. It might have been Ryan Jones. Mirko's back underneath Robert Mason, headed into turn 1.
Yeah, Mirko Dornak there just getting underneath him, and pulling away now, and Mirko's going to be looking at Mirko's going to be looking at
Sorry, I know Robert Mason's all over Mirko. These guys did make contact in turn 1 a couple of laps ago. Not that Mirko would have actually driven away from that, but Rob Mason's still up on the inside. He's actually done really well. There is a wreck at the front, Matt Danson.
Oh, that is big news. My feed is actually missing that one. I've lost what happened there to Matt Danson.
I can tell you what happened. He got loose off turn 4 as he hit the flat under the front stretch, went through the grass and then crossed the start finish line back into the outside wall hard.
And it doesn't matter though, because Jason Martin has got the win, but I think that was
last lap.
Yeah, last lap. So yeah, Matt Danson just going off on the last moment. So Jason Martin takes the win there. Fantastic drive from Jason Martin, just dominating from the start, really.
Yeah, it was. I think he might have led every lap there too. I'll have to have a look at that a bit later, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it was very close to leading all the laps. Yeah, win.
Yeah, he would have led nearly every lap. I think there might have been 1 or 2 under safety car that he might have lost while things were just chopping and changing around, but he's doing the donuts there enough until he blows the engine. What a great job by Jason Martin. So we got Jason Martin with Matt Danson in second. Michael Skurlock managed to get third in the end. Ryan Jones got the fourth place. Great job from Ryan Jones there, fighting off Josh Micklemore towards the end of the race there. Mirko Dortnack managed to get the 6th place position with Robert Mason there. Robert Mason and Mirko Dortnack had a fantastic battle towards the end there. Matthew Kloot managed to get up into 8th. Kai Sloggett 9th. And Stephen Williams in 10th place. And then as we roll down the field, we have Gavin Sadler sitting in 11th with Norman Clark 12th. Good job, good drive from Norman Clark there in 12th place. Nicholas Walsh 13th, Raymond Yeager in 14th, Jacob Knight 15th. Joseph Trevora managed to get 16th. A great drive from Joseph Trevora there. Really good finish, really good strong finish in 16th there. Phil Otto in 17th. Bradley Cheney in 18th. Jackson Callow managed 19th. Matthew Raymond 20th. Ben Doherty 21st. Joshua Carroll Walden 22nd. Tristan Koch in 23rd. George Fullerton 24th. Dominic Ferraris 25th. Kevin Blumford 26th. Ryan Bull 27th. Todd Maxfield, Gareth Anderson, Brian Richmond, Jake Maloney, Chris Purnell, unfortunately very early in the race. Bradley Ratu and Matt Morris is the last of our starters. So, fantastic race there. What we'll do is we will have a look in the green room, and it does look like Jason Martin has jumped in there. So what we might do is grab Jason Martin up for a quick chat. Jason Martin, Carl Withy here, Performance E Streaming. How are you going?
Absolutely stoked.
Congratulations on winning the 131 Web Radio Texas Motor Speedway for Thursday Night Thunder.
Yeah, thanks mate.
Another win for you. It's been a good season so far.
Yeah, I'm going pretty good in the Xfinity car. I just wish I had a bit more luck in the Cup and the truck.
Yes, well, you know, I'm sure things will start turning around in both of those divisions, but look, I'm sure most of the field would be envious of you right now, just having this kind of streak in the Thunder series.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Matt was pretty desperate to win that one.
Yeah, he was really pushing towards the end there. What was your strategy just as that last caution came out and those last few laps ticked down? What was the sort of strategy there for yourself?
I didn't want to go completely flat out because I knew I'd need some tyres towards the back end, so I wanted to maintain the lead, but I also wanted to leave a little in reserve on the tyres.
Yeah, a very wise move indeed. It was pretty much a sort of almost a lonely race for you up there as well. Matt Danson did manage to get a little bit close at some stages, but throughout that whole race, I think you actually led almost all laps of that race as well. So again, another great job there. what's been the what's been the magic this year for First Down at Thunder for you? Is it just these cars just working for you? These tracks so far just working for you?
Yeah, I think it's just car. I'm pretty good in it because I do a lot of official races in it, so I normally go pretty good with this car.
And that makes sense, you know. Practice makes perfect, as they say. So, anyone you'd like to actually, sorry, Danny G, is there any questions you'd like to ask tonight?
No. It was pretty much well covered. But congratulations, mate. That was a dominant race win, and like we said, we thought Danson was sort of up there a little bit. He thought it might be catching him, but then he sort of pulled away again. And I know that meant a lot to you because he beat you here in the truck series with a couple of laps to go. So I know this one means a lot to you, and congratulations.
Yep, I knew I couldn't let him beat me again here, so I had to try and look after the tyres, but maintain that lead.
Wonderful, thank you, Jason. Anyone you'd like to give a shout out for tonight?
I got to thank the boys at Mitch Motorsports, BK Designs, and of course Performance E-Streaming for putting on the broadcasts.
Thank you so much, Jason. I'm sure I will speak to you again sometime in the season.
Cheers, mate.
Have a good one. Okay, so what we might do now is just grab up. Let's see who's in this. Just in the green room. Might just grab up Michael Skurlock actually for this one. Did you want to chat to Michael, Danny?
Yeah, sure.
I'll just grab Michael up now.
Bristol's not a good one to start on.
Michael Skurlock, Danny G in Performance E-Streaming broadcast booth. How are you going tonight?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks. That was a pretty decent race for you. Started 30th and drove all the way back up to 3rd, and you're actually fighting there for the lead with a couple laps to go.
Yeah, no, I was stoked on that one. Like, I didn't know what to expect. After all that practice, I thought I had qualifying nailed, and then I just left it too late. Thought I was going to put in the big one and just hit the wall. Didn't have time to do a second lap, so I ended up at the back, and yeah, I was surprised, man. I thought I was going to hit. There was about 3 or 4 wrecks that happened right in front of me, and I just got lucky this time, and they bounced away instead of bouncing into me.
Yeah, you get that sometimes. It's always good to get through one without getting knocked out. But other than that, sort of like, how was the drive? The car feel pretty good for you?
Yeah. I like any car where it takes a bit of patience and you can run down on the line. That tends to be what I like to do. I don't know why, but that's what I've always liked doing, just running low. And I thought at the end there, I was like staying with Danson and Martin. I was like, man, I think I can do something here. And then I just went off the line. One lap I went off the line twice, and then I couldn't gather it back up again. They just started pulling away.
Yeah, there's a good three runs there, which seemed to last like 20 laps or so. So I'd say that's where you started to sort of like, things sort of got interesting there. Sort of, the other cars sort of fall off, and then you can sort of pick your way through the field. But yeah, anyway, congratulations on the 3rd place tonight. Is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to?
Old school graphics and designs, and the Illusion guys, as always, and you boys for putting on the show. Performance E-Streaming, you do a very good job. Thank you very much.
Cool, man. Thank you. Well, you go off, and yeah, congratulations.
All right, bye-bye.
Michael Skurlock there for Illusion Motorsport. It was a great race for him, and we might just grab one more person up tonight quickly, and I'm thinking I might just grab Ryan Jones up, just have a quick chat to him before we head off the air. Ryan Jones, Carl Withy here for Performance E-Streaming. How are you going?
Not too bad. Can't complain after that result.
No, fantastic result there for you. You were fighting up in the top spots pretty much all race there. Congratulations. Yeah,
cheers. I think if I'd had some better restarts, I might have been able to challenge maybe Mick Skurlock for 3rd, and would have been interesting to see what I could have done behind Jason and Matt, but, I don't know, decent result.
Yeah, your car definitely seemed to have quite a bit of pace here tonight. Is Texas one of those tracks where you're just sort of quite keen on, you're sort of quite confident with?
No, not at all. Turn 4 is a massive struggle. I don't like Texas.
Well, you did a fantastic job nonetheless. Qualifying, what was it? You qualified quite high up in the order, didn't you?
Yeah, 2nd place.
Second, yeah. So great qualifying there, and 4th place for you as well. That's going to really help you out towards the end of the season with the points.
Yeah, it should do. I think the only way any of us is going to win this championship is if Jason just drops off the face of the earth for a couple of rounds, but we'll see how we go, try and finish as high as we can, maybe.
Well, you never know, sometimes the internet can be a fickle mistress, and sometimes it can cause those problems, but we never want to see one of our drivers dropping out or anything like that, but it would be nice to see you guys fighting up there, so you never know, we might get some, we might just chuck a little bit of extra weight on his car without telling him.
I think he'll still find a way to win, Jason.
Thank you so much, Ryan. Now, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out for tonight?
Just all the guys at Racing Oz and Gareth coming to keep me company with Racing Oz now, my new teammate. And main sponsor also, Happy Bay Autoglass, for continuing to sponsor the team and give us a nice schmick livery.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Ryan. Have a good night, and I hope to see you in the box again at some time in the near future.
Yeah, me too. Alright, cheers guys.
Well, so what a race we had there, Danny. Very sort of very close race up at the front for sure. People are starting to catch up to the front runners, it looks like, and when these drivers start to hook up a little bit cleaner races, things like that, I think people like Matt Danson and Jason Martin are going to have some people to look out for.
Yeah, I think so too. It was a very cool race. Yeah, like I said, there was about 3 good green flag runs there, the 15-20 lap runs, and yeah, these guys sort of fought together, and it got pretty close there towards the end, and all through the field. I mean, there was battles in the top 10 side by side pretty much all race.
Yeah, and that's what we want to see, is these good battles happening, nice clean racing as well, and there was lots of clean racing tonight. Yes, there were a few incidents, but these things are going to happen, you know. It's one of those things that it's easy to make a mistake on, unfortunately, when you're travelling at, 180 miles an hour around the corner, but some really good clean racing tonight.
Yeah, there was, and I can't wait until a fortnight's time of these guys doing 150 laps at Bristol, and that should be an entertaining race.
Yeah, Bristol is always an interesting one. So we look forward to seeing you for Bristol next race, where Edward Foster should be joining you back in the booth. So I'll say good night to you from night. So be a good night from me, Carl Withy.
Catch us later. See you next time.
And a huge, massive thank you to Matt Hunter as well for jumping out of that race and jumping with us up in the booth as well. Thank you so much, Matt. We really appreciate it, and hopefully we'll see you in the race next time at Bristol, and we'll see you up in the order. Hopefully, Carl will give you a payoff. Okay, guys, thank you so much tonight, and we will see you all next time. Good night.